In the year 2027, the human race is facing its final chapter. We open on a black screen, listening to a news report that sets a grim tone for a world on the brink of extinction. The voice reveals that Diego Ricardo, the youngest person on the planet at 18 years old, has been killed in a bar fight in Buenos Aires. He was a global celebrity simply for being the last child born, and his death signifies total hopelessness. We find ourselves in a crowded London coffee shop. Men and women stand frozen, staring at the television, tears streaming down their faces. This is a world in mourning, not just for one boy, but for their own future. Enter Theo Ferron, a man who looks like he gave up a long time ago. Unkempt, unshaven, and wearing the weary expression of a bureaucrat in a dying world, he pushes through the grieving crowd to order a coffee black. He ignores the sobbing woman next to him and the tragic news report. He just wants his caffeine. He walks out into the gray, damp London morning. The streets are a mix of the past and a decaying future. Old cars, motorized rickshaws, and militarized police. He stops to add alcohol from a flask to his coffee, and suddenly, kaboom! The coffee shop behind him is obliterated in a massive explosion. Theo reels from the blast, ears ringing, covered in dust, watching a woman stagger out holding her severed arm. The screen fades to black. This is the reality of the United Kingdom, the only nation seemingly soldiering on while the rest of the world has collapsed into chaos. But soldiering on means a totalitarian state. We see propaganda billboards everywhere, report all suspicious activity, and saving Britain. Illegal immigrants, referred to as fugees, are hunted down and caged like animals. Theo returns to work at the Ministry of Energy, a dull, soul-crushing job. He's numb to the violence. Later, he takes a commuter train, which is pelted with rocks by angry youths, the generation with no future. On the train, he sits across from exhausted riot police. The world is angry, tired, and dying. Theo visits his old friend Jasper, a former political cartoonist who lives off the grid in a hidden house in the woods. Jasper is the only spark of life in Theo's world. He grows pot, listens to loud music, and cares for his catatonic wife Janice, a former photojournalist tortured by Mi-5. Jasper jokes about the end of the world, mentioning the Human Project, a rumored scientific group based in the Azores dedicated to curing infertility. Theo dismisses it as a myth, a fairy tale for desperate people. Days later, as Theo walks down a street reading a book, he is ambushed. Masked figures shove a bag over his head and throw him into a van. He's taken to an interrogation room, interrogated and eventually unmasked to face the leader of this terrorist cell, Julian Taylor. She isn't just a terrorist, she is Theo's ex-wife. There is a deep history here. 20 years ago, they were activists, lovers who believed they could change the world. Now, Julian leads the Fishes, a group fighting for immigrant rights. She needs a favor. She needs transit papers for a young Fuji girl to get her to the coast. Theo, cynical and detached, refuses until Julian offers him money enough to fix his life. But we sense it's not the money, it's her. He still loves her. Theo pulls strings with his cousin, a high-ranking government official who lives in a fortified Ark of the Arts, a collection of the world's salvaged masterpieces, including Michelangelo's David Missing a Leg and Picasso's Guernica. His cousin provides the papers, but there's a catch. Theo has to accompany the refugee. He can't just hand the papers over. Theo meets the refugee, a young African woman named Key, and her fierce protector, Miriam, a midwife. They pile into a car along with Julian and Luke, Julian's lieutenant. The mood in the car lightens briefly as they play a game with an orange, a rare moment of levity reminiscent of a family road trip. But the peace is shattered instantly. A burning car blocks the road. Well, it's an ambush. A mob of wild scavengers descends from the woods. They attack the car with rocks and metal bars. In the chaos, a motorcycle pulls up alongside them. The rider pulls a gun and shoots Julian in the neck. It is a shocking, visceral moment. Blood sprays everywhere. Julian dies almost instantly. Theo, in shock, takes the wheel as Luke shoots the motorcyclist. They speed away, shaking and terrified. They encounter a police checkpoint, and in a panic, Luke kills the officers to protect their cargo. They are now fugitives, cop killers. They arrive at a safe house, a farm, where the rest of the fishes are hiding. Theo is reeling from Julian's death. He wanders out to the barn to smoke, grief-stricken. He follows him. She needs to show him something. She walks into a stall surrounded by cows and unbuttons her dress. Theo looks, expecting nothing, and then freezes. Number 70, when must heaveny for about 4 we to drubble. She stands there, swollen belly exposed, the most impossible sight in a world that hasn't seen a baby in 18 years. Theo falls to his knees. Joe! This isn't just a refugee, she is the future of the human race. Miriam explains that Key is 8 months along. The plan was to get her to the Human Project ship, the Tomorrow, which will be waiting at a buoy off the coast of Bexhill. But now Julian is dead, and the leadership of the fishes is in flux. That night, unable to sleep, Theo overhears a conversation that chills his blood. Luke and the other fishes aren't planning to take Key to the Human Project. They want to keep the baby. They want to use the child as a political tool, a flag to rally a revolution. Even worse, they admit they orchestrated the ambush that killed Julian because she wanted to take the baby to the Human Project. They plan to kill Theo in the morning and claim the baby as their own. Theo rushes back to Key and Miriam. They have to leave, winless now, but the car won't start. The battery is dead. In a sequence of agonizing tension, they have to push the car down the driveway in the dead of night, trying not to wake the sleeping terrorists. They manage to get the car rolling, but the engine sputters. The noise wakes the fishes. A chase ensues. Theo, who hasn't driven in years, manages to evade them, escaping into the dark countryside. With nowhere else to go, Theo takes them to Jasper's hideout in the woods. It's a brief sanctuary. Jasper is amazed by Key's pregnancy, calling it a miracle. He formulates a desperate plan. He has a connection, a corrupt border guard named Sid who smuggles drugs. Sid can get them into Bexhill, the refugee camp on the coast. It's a prison city, a hellhole where Britain dumps its unwanted immigrants, but it's the only way to the ocean. Sid arrives, a slimy, transactional fascist who agrees to smuggle them in for a price. As they prepare to leave, the fishes track them down. They spot the cars coming up the long driveway. Jasper knows the car won't outrun them this time. He makes a choice. He gives Theo the keys to his own car and tells him to take the back way through the woods. Jasper stays behind to buy them time. From the distance of the woods, Theo watches as the fishes storm the house. Jasper sits calmly in his wheelchair, listening to his music. He refuses to tell them where Theo went. Luke shoots him point blank. Theo watches his best friend die, unable to scream, tears streaming down his face. The stakes have never been higher. They aren't just running for themselves anymore, they are running for Jasper, for Julian, for the baby. They meet Sid, who smuggles them onto a prisoner transport bus disguised as refugees. The journey is a descent into hell. We see the brutality of the state cages full of people, guards beating the defenseless. Inside the bus, Key begins to have contractions. Her water breaks. Miriam, trying to distract the guards from the fluid on the floor, fakes a mania. The guards, brutal and impatient, drag Miriam off the bus. She is taken away to likely be beaten or killed, sacrificing herself so Key can stay hidden. Theo and Key are left alone. They arrive inside Bexhill. It is a post-apocalyptic war zone, a crumbling city run by gangs and warlords, walled off from the rest of England. They find a squalid room in a tenement building. Key's labor intensifies. There are no doctors, no sterile equipment, just a dirty mattress and a terrified man who used to be an activist. Key is terrified, crying out for her mother, for Miriam. Theo has to step up. He coaches her, cleans his hands with whiskey, and helps her deliver. In a scene of raw, bloody beauty, the baby is born, a girl. She cries, and for a moment, the filth of the room disappears. Theo stares at the child with awe. They wrap her in dirty sheets. They made it. But they aren't safe yet. The next morning, Bexhill erupts. The fishes have broken into the camp, inciting a full-scale uprising to use as cover to find the baby. The British military responds with tanks and heavy artillery. The city turns into a slaughterhouse. Sid, the corrupt guard, finds them in their room. He realizes the package is a baby and sees dollar signs. He tries to take them prisoner to sell the baby to the government. But Marichka, a gypsy woman who has been helping them, hits Sid with a heavy object, allowing them to escape. Theo, Key, and Marichka navigate the war-torn streets. The fighting is intense: explosions, gunfire, rebels screaming. In the chaos, the fishes capture Key and the baby. They drag her away into a bombed-out apartment building that they've turned into a fortress. Theo is left behind, battered and alone. He chases them. He runs through a storm of bullets, dodging tank fire and crumbling walls. He is a man possessed. He tracks them to the apartment block where the fishes are pinned down by the British military. He sneaks inside, moving room to room, avoiding the crossfire. He finds Key huddled in a corner, clutching her baby, surrounded by Luke and his men who are firing at the soldiers outside. Theo reaches her. He isn't leaving without them. Just as the soldiers are about to breach the room with heavy fire, the baby starts to cry. The sound cuts through the noise of the machine guns. It is a sound no one has heard in nearly 2 decades. The soldier nearest them freezes. He signals his squad to hold fire. "Gomages!" he shouts. "Hold the goat!" Slowly, miraculously, the shooting stops. Theo guides Key and the baby out of the room. As they walk down the ruined staircase, soldiers and rebels alike lower their weapons. Men fall to their knees, making the sign of the cross. Some reach out just to touch the baby's foot. For a fleeting moment, the war stops. The miracle of life paralyzes the machinery of death. They walk out of the building and into the street, the silence deafening. But as they clear the building, the spell breaks. A tank fires, and the battle resumes with renewed fury. Theo and Key sprint for safety. They run toward the sewers where Marichka has a boat waiting. They encounter Luke one last time. He is wounded, watching them go. He doesn't shoot. He is killed by a tank shell moments later. They make it to the sewer. Marichka leads them to a small rowboat. She refuses to come with them, pushing the boat out into the water, choosing to stay in her home despite the destruction. Theo rows. He rows away from the fires of Bexhill into the open sea. It is quiet now. The sky is gray and heavy. They reach the buoy, the rendezvous point. And they wait. The water is choppy. The boat bobs up and down. Theo stops rowing. He looks pale. He slumps forward. Key notices blood on the floor of the boat. Theo was shot during the escape from the apartment block, but he didn't say anything. He didn't want to scare her. Key panics, trying to stop the bleeding, but Theo smiles. He looks at the baby. Key tells him she's going to name the baby Dylan. A girl's name, she says. It's the name of Theo and Julian's lost son. It's a perfect circle. Theo smiles weakly. He teaches her how to burp the baby, passing on the last bit of fatherly knowledge he has. His breathing slows. He tells her to look for the boat. Theo Ferron, the man who had given up on everything, closes his eyes. His head drops. He dies, having completed his mission. He restored the future. Key sobs, holding her daughter, drifting alone in the vast gray ocean. The fog is thick. Hope seems lost. But then, through the mist, a massive shape emerges. It's a ship. The lights cut through the gloom. The hull reads, "Tomorrow." The human project is real. They have found her. The screen fades to black as the sound of children laughing echoes in the dark. The hope for humanity has been saved. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.